Paul's really roughing it today. Just,
Yeah,
where are you?
in Oaxaca, Mexico. It's I don't know, west of Mexico City, I guess.
Hmm.
We're in the city part of this, I guess, is on the water, the ocean, but we're in not in that part. We're in the city part.
Are you at least getting the humidity of the water part?
No, but it is hot here.
Yeah.
It's maybe 10 degrees warmer than Mexico City, so it's hit low 90s. Wish I could probably move this back, couldn't I? Or something. I don't know. How's it going?
So here's something I didn't really think about too much until, I don't know, yesterday, a headline. So Amazon is reportedly following Microsoft's lead and sort of pulling back on their data center investments,
Okay.
which has a very significant trickle down effect to all of these AI companies who are building out as if there is an unlimited number of GPU compute in the cloud. But
Yep.
the people building those clouds are suddenly saying, like, maybe we'll hold off here, which if they do and the compute becomes constrained means that these AI companies have to start building their own infrastructure, which is going to suck all of their capital right
I
out of
was
the
going to say,
room.
it was not possible.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things come to mind immediately. The first is that when Microsoft was doing this by itself, this maybe represented OpenAI going off and doing other infrastructure. Maybe they wouldn't have to invest so much.
Mm-hmm.
If Amazon is doing the same thing, I mean, these are two of the three big, right? Yeah, three big players.
Mm-hmm.
So that could indicate that this AI build out boom time is slowing finally, which it has to, right? Inevitably. Maybe we just have enough capacity, Brad. Do you ever think of that?
No, I'm pretty sure we don't. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, I have thought of that. We haven't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which you think about the life cycle of a curve. Obviously, AI, maybe not AI, because AI has been around theoretically for decades, but like the mass market AI where we are at now is starting to reach a plateau of a technological limit, right? Because
Mhm.
there's not infinite money in the world. So we joke
Not
that
even,
Amazon and Microsoft do have it, but they effectively are a business, and they're like, look, we've invested X, we got to start seeing Y come trailing behind it, and if it's not trailing fast enough, then they
yep.
do slow down their investment, especially given uncertainty in the economy, which means that the second wave has to happen for the next inflection point, which means that the technology catches up, where
Yep.
either the NPUs suddenly become highly valuable, or maybe GPUs aren't the optimal AI chipset that we use them for. So
Well, I mean, for now they kind of are, right? I
right,
mean,
for now, yes.
Microsoft just released one of its smallest on-device models that apparently is optimized for CPU, right? It's not going to replace any of these cloud GPUs anytime soon, but yeah, I've talked about this forever. This notion of orchestration and moving workloads to the right processors,
Mm-hmm.
depending on automatically, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, more efficiency is needed across the board, whether you're talking CPU, GPU, and well, NPUs are actually very efficient. But you know, this is where I think ARM can help in the data center, which Amazon and Google or Microsoft are already doing. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's been a natural
Yeah.
downturn in cost or and an upturn in efficiency, but whether it's enough or I don't know. I don't really have a great handle on this part of the world, but
Yeah, but
hmm,
it's interesting. The two, yeah, they're the two largest. Yep. Google's not far behind or somewhere in that mix, and they haven't signaled that. And let's be clear, it's not like these companies have come out and said, "Hey, we're slowing down our investment." It's been like through local
I,
municipalities saying, like, Microsoft's no longer building a data center, and same with Amazon. So
so these reports also, you got to remember, haven't come from Microsoft or Amazon.
right.
These are from third parties, right? So I mean, I comb through Microsoft's earnings announcements and the chat transcripts and everything, looking for any little sign of something, whatever it might be, of change. And I got to tell you, I mean, there's never been any hint of anything really. I mean, they're spending $20 billion a quarter plus now, billing this stuff out. And so it's end of April. I mean, we're heading right into another season of earnings announcements and whatever. And so we'll see, every time, I mean, every quarter, it's like, okay, we'll see. Is this the time? It has to happen. So, I mean, the smallest mention from Microsoft, of something that indicates less capacity necessary, less spending, less whatever, is going to be met with, oh crap, something horrible has happened, and they're kind of, understating how serious it is or something like that.
Yeah, no, a small hiccup in that will have, because their bet, I think it's more important to make clear, isn't providing a chatbot named Copilot on Bing.com. It's that corporations come and have a thing that they can just purchase and say, this is my data, make it AI capable. And then they have all the compute to make that. And then they charge an exorbitant amount of money for that every month or whatever.
Look, we're never going to see the spreadsheet that explains exactly what features of, let's just say, Microsoft 365 that most people use and how much they use it and what percentage of revenue maybe they attribute to, or cost, right? Whatever. We'll never see that. But Microsoft, they do this in Xbox. I think this is kind of a new this might be something we could attribute to Nadella, maybe not, I don't know. But this notion of they don't have to win the race to win the race,
Right.
If third parties are all running AI infrastructure on top of Azure and Microsoft's in-house stuff doesn't go gangbusters, like chatbot and Bing or whatever, it's okay, right? As long as people are using Azure capacity to run these workloads, right? So at the very least, you can make the argument that Microsoft is investing in knowledge that will then inform the technology investments they make elsewhere in Azure that may end up benefiting third parties, right? More than them or as much as them. And that's good for the whole world, right? So, I don't know. I haven't seen...
The other fun one is Google. They've got some other issues coming now. Eventually.
I mean, Google, Apple, Microsoft, especially, and then Amazon obviously and Meta obviously are overdue for this kind of antitrust reckoning. For Google, unfortunately, it seems to be happening in a pile, but that's just the randomness of timing. I said this before, their chief lawyer is Kent Walker. He's like the pre-Brad Smith Microsoft. And I really feel like there's a lesson to be learned there, and that what these companies should be doing is negotiating to get the best deal they can, because they don't want governments or regulators determining their outcomes. So they don't want to give up Chrome. They don't want to give up this. They don't want to do that, whatever. But you have to meet them somewhere and give them something, because if you don't, they're going to end up taking away key assets that could be very problematic for the future of those companies.
Yep.
I don't think none of them are disappearing or collapsing. I mean, Google, the part of the business, like, for example, that I know the search thing is all in the news, but they just lost this ad case, right? They don't want to take away their entire ad business, right? It's the part of of Google that regulators in that case are probably going to ask the judge to take away is about 20% of their revenues. That's significant, but it's also not 80%, which is what their ad revenues are.
Yeah.
So, these things don't just disappear. They're too big for that.
No, and we don't really want Google to disappear. That would be a net negative for just about everybody.
Yeah. I mean, right. It's easy to be cynical about big tech because big tech is terrible. But the truth is we all rely on whatever combination of services is search, maps, photos, Gmail. My God, it's got to be the biggest email service in the world.
My next point was going to be like, if you're saying, well, we really don't need Gmail, it's like, wait until they come and say it now costs you $5 a month to have a Gmail account. Then see how people riot.
I technically pay about $8 a month for a Gmail account, but yes. Excuse me. It's very dry here, Brad. Gmail is free, but if you want a custom domain, Gmail is $8 a month. That's how they get you, I guess. I don't know. On the flip side, I have argued that they should at least offer that option to those who would pay, right? I mean, I would pay Microsoft for Windows 11 that doesn't have enshrification in it. I would pay Google well, I do pay Google for, ad-free inbox, blah, blah, blah. I know Gmail is basically ad-free, right? I think for everybody, I think. Is it? I think so.
Well, minus the things that land in there, but yeah.
And minus the incessant tracking and
Yeah.
the sale of your person. Well, no, they don't do that in email, supposedly. I don't know. Anyway, look, I know everyone can't pay, and but again, this should be the option, and maybe there's a future here. These companies, I don't care that they're big. I don't care that they have a lot of money. I just care that they are able to behave the way they want without any repercussions whatsoever. I think they should be forced to just adhere to basic laws, that govern our personal privacy or, whatever it is. So our choice, etc., we should be able to do what we want on our own devices. All kinds of naive ethical nonsense. I don't know.
Yep. For all the people who missed out on a browser ballot, well, you're going to get a round 2 of this.
Yes.
Not quite the same, but similar.
You like do Windows setup or Android setup or whatever device setup, and it's like 250 steps. Well, now there are going to be 500 because it's going to be like, yes, 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 yes. I don't know.
Complain on a podcast?